Okay, this is a really quick overview of the way that I have my custom Roo Boomerang orchestrator task send outy thing set up. So there's me, and then like right underneath me is the team lead mode, which serves as my like orchestrator boomerang mode, whatever you want to call it. The purpose of the team lead is to talk to me, figure out what I want, figure out the goal from what I'm talking about, and then delegate that out in subtasks to the other modes, as well as the team lead has the final say on the active task document and the development journal document, which are just kind of two parts of the same thing. Active task is the entire team's context of what we're working on. So the team lead will write kind of the gist of it and then list everybody who's going to be used and then kind of suggest what they're going to do roughly. And then when a task is done, it just gets moved over to the development journal. So for my reference, or on the weird chance we have to like look back. So I talk to the team lead. I say, this is what we're going to do. The team lead figures it all out. And in the process of figuring all that out, before any tasks actually get delegated, which is weird to say because we're delegating tasks before we delegate tasks. So the team lead will reach out to the architecture specialist and be like, hey, give us, this is what we want to do. You make it more verbose. So I talk to the team lead. The team lead crunches that down into something simple and hands it off to the architecture guy who will review whatever he needs to review. We have a bunch of different documents that we're tooling around with at any given time. Spit it out into a much longer, more parsable form, and then hand it back to the team lead, who will then decide who needs to do what with it. Usually, that'll just go straight to the code guy, um, who will start working on the code. There are instances where either the architecture guy or the code guy need to reference the rules guy. My game is built off of the back of the Pathfinder rule set, so um, I have my PDFs that I got from Paizo. I have an MCP server that can search through the PDFs for context. The rules, gameplay rules guy in his custom mode stuff um, has some fail safes in there to where, because the MCP tool that I did is not super great. It'll search for context, it'll search for a word, and it'll search lines um, around that word. Like it'll find every instance in the PDF, which is huge. Um, and try to get context that way. But if it's not sure on something, it'll ask me, and then I can either tell it from what I know, or I can look it up myself in the PDFs. Turns out that trying to just the player core for Pathfinder 2 is like 700,000 tokens. So it's a lot of context to try to keep relevant at any given time. So we had to do some workarounds that way. So it's possible that either the coder or the architecture guy need to confirm what they want to do meshes with how it should actually work. So they communicate back and forth. Um, and then, so the coder will take the here's what we're going to do from the architecture guy, do a first pass of it, like the bare bones C++, which we'll show in a second, kick it back up to the team lead and say, hey, look, I did this. Does this look good? The team lead will review the architecture response from earlier, make sure it looks good, and pass it back, and they'll just kind of go back and forth, back and forth. If the architecture guide needs to be updated at all, it goes to the architecture guide. Like it's very um, where I believe the way subtasks work in Boomerang, it's very, A to B, B to C, C to D, D to E. I'm not 100% sure it even goes back to the orchestrator. It's been a while since I've like looked at it and like used it, but it was important to me that everything go from the team lead to the specialist to the team lead, so that I have the opportunity to jump in kind of anywhere in the process to help course correct a lot of hallucinations, especially when it comes to tabletop role playing game rules. A lot of hallucinations when it comes to C++ or Unreal Engine. I am by no means a master at C++, but I have learned enough over the last going on almost 2 years now, where I can kind of jump in and poke around and get it to do what I want it to do. So once that's all done, and we finish kind of the goal, depending on what we were working on, it'll go to the documentation guy, the tech doc guy, who will write something up for designers, for people using it, the systems that we're making in Blueprint, and kind of walk them through the steps. This process is not perfect by any means. It uses a lot of tokens. I jump back and forth between different Gemini models, different Claude models. I jump in and out of using Human Relay. I have more compiler errors than you could imagine, which results in a lot of debug sessions. Generally, after a big system is implemented, I will pour through anywhere between 50 and 200 compiler errors. Most of it's stupid stuff, so it's not like it's a big pain to kind of get through, but it is a pain to get through. I like it because it's just another step of human verification. It lets me reread the code and tweak things where I need to tweak them. This is all, it's all based around a document called Living Context, which is something I spent a couple weeks writing up that pretty much outlined on a high level, every system in the game. And it's living context because the definitions of those things are going to change, things are going to be added. Dependencies are going to shift as things get added and changed and move around and stuff. So every mode has read access to that file. The team lead is the only one who is instructed to suggest changes, but I'm the only one that makes changes. For the most part, it's working out okay. I'm going to jump over because I realize I've been yapping for quite some time. So I'm going to jump over into where are we at right now. Right now, we are setting up the turn manager subsystem. So we've been working on, this is the third iteration of this, the action framework system, which is a subsystem modeled after the gameplay ability system that Unreal Engine uses for Fortnite and Marvel Rivals and stuff like that. Since our game is single player and turn-based, there's a lot of stuff to strip out. But since our game is based around the tabletop role-playing game rules, there's also a lot of stuff to tweak. So we've gotten, you can't see my file list on purpose, but we've gotten the main component that attaches to the character done. We've got the attribute framework that attaches to that component done, which tracks all your RPG stats. We've got the dice rolling subsystem done, and now we're working on the turn manager for turn-based combat. So where are we at? Looks like the header file is just done. So the responses that I get from Roo are varied in how much I usually get. Like it looks like we just wrote the entire class here and then spit it back out over here. Sometimes I won't get hardly any information. Sometimes I will get all of it. Declares the class, member variables, blueprint. And we'll say, yep, that's good. So now, theoretically, I didn't read the subtask prompt, but so each mode has been defined as a team member for the coding team, run by the team lead and ultimately set up by me. I've given each mode a tag, a shortened tag, so they all know how to reference each other. Each one actually, I don't think, I've been running without, I used to have custom rules, client rules files for each mode that had situations where they would want to do horizontal handoffs, but I disliked that because it was very easy for the team lead to lose context and not be able to update the files that we need the team lead to update. So now everybody passes back off to the team lead, who then just hands it right back. Looks like we're doing the CPP file for this. So generally the code it writes is straightforward. It's not, like I said, it's not always great. There's a number of redundancies to keep Unreal Engine best practices in mind, C++ best practices in mind. At one point in time, I had like a coding standards file with examples. Examples are great. Use examples when you're writing instructions and things. I would rather these systems be built to work in the context of the role-playing game than work in the context of a functional video game. Like I can always go back and fix the code, like debug things and reorganize things. If it doesn't adhere to the principles of the RPG, that's a whole other bucket of fish. So I'm not 100% worried about how the code is written. I also have multiple redundancies regarding comments, if only so that I can kind of understand where Roo was going when it was building stuff. So I want to finish a subtask so I can show you what the handoff process looks like. This is a side effect of the way that we set this up, and it is something that really kind of tickles me. I might hire somebody to do little character sketches so I can put on the website for Meet the Team or something. So when they do the handoffs back and forth, it's very conversational, at least in the beginning, like the opening, before all the prompt, like the context of the prompt goes through for subtasks. It's very conversational. It reminds me of like a Teams chat between coworkers. So it's like, team, hey, code, great job on the last such and such and such. We changed these things. Could you now do this with that context or whatever? Great work. Come on. What is... also, something I have to work on in my particular workflow here is somehow the active task has bloated. Active task was literally supposed to be the context for the individual thing we're working on at this exact moment, and has become, granted, the AFS is a huge chunk of the game, so it is a big part of the project, but this is insane. Also, Gemini hates diff editing and has just duplicated step numbers and stuff. Task 2 is complete. Task 3 is sketched out. Looks good. Oh, okay. I submitted a bug fix to this. So now it's reading. Yes. I need to, because I switched over from Gemini. Oh no, I'm back in Gemini. Son of a bitch. Okay. Well, looks like it went okay. I really wanted to show the cover, but you can see here, it's answering its own, internally, it's talking to itself as the coder. I would like to be able to save all of this conversation as it goes, but whatever. Okay, here we go. So subtask complete. So now we jump back to the team lead who's pondering what was just sent from the coder. 14 minutes. Great, the coder completed the implementation of the term manager system. Now I should update task, active task, summarize the overall project, and determine the next steps. God help you. Figure this out, man. Wait. What's the turn manager? What else do we have to do? Ooh. No. Oh, okay. Oh. So, completed, call compliance, design and implement rolling check system, design and implement term manager, find the gameplay tag, hierarchy, which I have to do on my own. Is there a next step? But here, so you'll see in this document, it team members involved. Team lead, coordinate tasks, maintain documentation, track project. Great job, team lead. Architect designed the rolling checks and term manager systems. So it designed these design files for the rolling checks system and the term manager system, which the coder used for implementation, which it says right here, rule specialist. I had to manually kind of walk the rule specialist through grabbing traits for gameplay tags, but we got it accomplished. So yeah, now it's asking what? Oh, I guess. Anyway, we're at 15 minutes. I'm gonna call it here. But I want to do some live streams where I'm just zooming through here and talking. And I want to do more videos. I just don't want to edit videos anymore. I'm beyond that now. So these are going to be just trauma dumps essentially. But hopefully they manage to kind of prompt the way that we think about interacting with these autonomous coding assistants, whatever you want to call them. I think a big part of the magic that gets lost in vibe coding is the conversational benefit of using an LLM. Like, I think more important than project context is conversational context, which is a talk for another day, I guess. Thanks.